Hello, Finxters. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. Today we'll be going over how to make division by 0 to 0 in Python. If for some reason you have a program and you you expect that sometimes you'll divide by 0 and you just want it to return 0, you pretty much know what you're doing in your program, and you do not want to receive the 0 division error. If that's your case, then I'll show you how to do that, and the different ways that we can return 0 in Python. So as mentioned, if you divide by 0, you receive this 0 division error. The first method I'll be showing you is the try except method. Um, One thing I did want to mention is there are these two different approaches in Python. Sorry. There's one called easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, EAFP, and then that's characterized by using try and except statements. It is the preferred method in Python as opposed to LBYL, look before you leap. This style is characterized by using a lot of if statements. But regardless, I'll go ahead and show you both methods, try and except, and then we'll use if statements. So with that said, let's go ahead and I'll show you the try method. Okay, so let's just make a function called 0 div, passing in a numerator and denominator. Um, okay, so we'll try returning the result of dividing x by y. And then if we get an exception, which is down here, this is the exception that we're expecting if we divide by 0. So 0 division error. So if we get that 0 division error, then we'll just return 0. Pretty straightforward. Let's save it and run it. 0 div, so we'll just try a non-zero denominator and we get the correct result. And if we pass in a 0 for the denominator, we'll get 0 instead of the 0 division error. Cool, so that's pretty easy. That's how you would use the try except method. There is a way to do this as a Python one-liner, and that's with the exec built-in Python method. What you have to pass into here is a string, and the string is pretty much just the Python code. So things to keep in mind is that you'll have to specify the new line. So try, and then you'll specify a new line. You'll have to indent, and then instead of return, you'll have to change these to print. So it'll be print x, y, and print 0. Okay, so those are the modifications. Also, you will have to declare, since you're not really passing variables in, you'll have to declare these variables beforehand or just actually specify what the numbers are. So let's go ahead and type that out. Okay, so exact, we'll need our try and then a new line and then indent. So we're trying x divided by y, new line, and then we have our except 0 division error, and then new line, indent, and then that says print 0. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So in this case, we don't have I didn't declare an x and a y, so let me just put a 42 and a 0 there. Okay, and it works. So this time let me declare some variables. So x is equal to 39, y. I'll do a non-zero first, 3. Okay, and then here I'll put x and y. Okay, so we get 13, and then if I change y to 0, run this again, and we'll get 0. So again, we're not getting the 0 division error. We're just simply getting a 0 whenever we divide by 0. So that is the try method in a one-liner. I hope that makes sense. Pretty straightforward. Next methods I'll show will be the if methods, or using if statements to handle this. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so I'll rewrite our 0 underscore div function. So using if statements. So we'll just first check if we have a 0 denominator. And if not, we'll just return the division, x divided by y. Okay. Okay, so we're checking if this is 0. If this is 0, then it has a Boolean value of false. So if we have any number, 1, it's true, 100, 1000, any number would be true, but if you have a 0, then the Boolean value is false, right? So in our function, we're just simply checking for the denominator. If it's a number, then we'll go ahead and return the division of that number. Otherwise, if this is a 0, which is false, then we return 0. So let's save this, run it. 0 div 93 divided by 0 is 0. But if we put any number non-zero, then it should work. So it does. So pretty straightforward. That's if we use an if statement. Also, an alternative to this if statement is using the ternary operation in Python. So that's if y else 0. Okay, save. Okay, so the ternary is, so we want to return this operation, x divided by, if this is true, if the y, again, you know, if we have a number. So if it's 0, it's false. So if this is false, it'll just return, it'll skip this operation. So I hope that makes sense. I'll just try to say that again. So with the ternary operation, we want to return this operation, this x divided by y, if this is true, if this is a number, as long as this is not 0. If this is 0, then it'll skip this, and it'll just return whatever we have in this else statement, which is 0. So let's go ahead and run that. Should be the same thing. So 0 div 345 divided by 15. So we'll get the answer, which is that. And then if we have a 0 as the denominator, then it'll return 0. Okay, so again, we're bypassing the or we're simply just checking. As long as the denominator is not 0, then we'll go ahead and return the result. If not, we'll just go ahead and have our function return 0. Okay, and then the last method that I'll go over is short circuiting. That's with using the logical operators and or. Um, so we'll return, is it y and x divided by or 0. Okay, so this might not make any sense, so let's break it down. Okay, so return y. So let's go ahead and imagine that we have our numbers in here. Let's say that x is equal to 49 and y is equal to 7. Okay, so let's go ahead and rewrite this as y and x divided by y. So let's take this first, the and evaluation. So the left side of y in terms of, I guess, logical operation and would be 7 is true, right? So this would be evaluated to true and x divided by y. Okay, so we're doing a logical expression with and, so it's going to want to evaluate the left and right as either trues or false. So the first step is it's looking at the left side of the and it's saying that evaluating that since y is equal to 7, then it is true. I hope that makes sense. So true and xy. The way short circuiting works in Python for and is if the left side of the and is true, then it will return whatever this right side is. If it's false, then it will just return false. So in this case, the left side of the and is true, so it will automatically just return whatever's on the right side. So the right side is xy, so we're left with xy or 0. Okay. Now, this is our next expression that we have to evaluate, this or. Now, the way short circuiting works with or is if this is false, then it will or if this is true, then it'll it doesn't care what this is. It'll just return whatever the left side of the or is, if it's true. Okay, so since it is true, since this is, so if we did bool xy, oh sorry, x in our example, x should be 49, y is 7, so x divided by y in this case evaluates to true. Okay, so I'll say it again. So with short circuiting with logical or, if the left side is true, then it won't care what this right side is. It'll just return this x, y. Okay, so let's run this the way it's written. So return y and x divided by y or 0. So I'll go ahead and run it. So 0 div, we'll pick 553 and okay, so that's whatever that answer is. So now if we change this to 0, we're left with 0. So I know that's kind of took me a while to understand this one, but I hope that makes sense by breaking it down. I guess I'll say it again. So the way that we evaluate this is the first part, this y and x divided by y, this is first evaluated. If this left part is true, then it will return whatever's on the right. It doesn't care what it is. It'll return what it is. So that's why we're left with this next statement: x divided by y, or 0. And then for or, if this is true, then it won't even care what the right side is. It'll just return what this is. So let's do an example with the 0, and then we'll evaluate, or we'll kind of do step by step what these are. Okay, so for y we have 0 and x, y, or 0. Okay, so now for this and, 0 and x divided by y. So we know that the boolean of 0 is false, right? So false. Okay, so we have false and x, y, or 0. Okay, so for short circuiting with and, the way it evaluates is if this is false, then it'll just automatically return false without it doesn't care what this is. It'll just return false automatically. So now we're left with false or 0. Okay, so and then with or, if this is false, then it will automatically return whatever the right side is. Okay, so then that's why 0 is returned. We're left with 0. Okay, so let's go over that again. So x is 49, y is 0, and then we want to return this state. This will evaluate first before we return something. So for y we have 0 and x divided by y, or 0. 0 is false, so we're left with false and something. We don't really care what that is at the moment, because and the way and works is that if the left side of the if its left side is false, it'll just automatically return false. So we're left with, so this is disregarded, this x divided by y. We're left with false. So we're left with this statement false or 0. And then the way short circuiting works with or is that if you have the left side is false, then it'll just return whatever's on the right side is what you're left with. That's what it is evaluated, and then that therefore in this case we return 0. I hope that makes sense. There's a little bit more explanation in the blog, so if you need some more explanation, please feel free to go through that. I think that's about it. Just to sum up, today we talked about how to make division by 0 to 0. I first kind of pointed out that there's 2 approaches for this. Easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. That is the kind of Python preferred method using try and except statements. And then you have look before you leap, which is using if statements. With the try and except method, you pretty much just try the division. And then it'll just go ahead and catch the exception 0 division error. If you get this error, meaning you did divide by 0, then you'll just return 0. I went over the Python one-liner using the exec built-in method. So with that, just remember to put in your new lines and to indent. And then also use print instead of return, since this isn't a function. It's pretty much just a string that is kind of interpreted as a Python code. The next thing we did was we used if statements to handle this, to return 0. So we pretty much just checked if the denominator was a 0. If it's not, then we return the division, and then if it's 0, we return 0, obviously. Yeah, this was the ternary method, sorry. Was this? Oh no, this is the, sorry, this was the regular just if else statement, and then this was the ternary method. Same thing, just written in a different way. So we want to return the x divided by y, or we want to return the division, but as long as the denominator is not 0. If it's a 0, then we'll return this. And then lastly, I went over the short circuit operators. So yeah, that was a bit. I hope I did a good enough job explaining how that worked. If not, please read through this for a little bit more explanation. I think that's about it. I hope everyone understood what I was trying to say in this video. If not, I'll work on it. I'll try to do better. Go ahead and leave a message maybe in the comments there, and let me know. If you are interested in freelancing or anything of that sort, go ahead and check out Finxter. We have a really good community. We all try to help each other out and communicate with each other. So if that interests you, please check it out. With that, I will end this video now, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thanks a lot. See ya.